All right, Brookie, are we ready? Yeah. Guys, we got 3 videos. We're going to roll. I woke up this morning. I'm not feeling good. Last night I went to bed about 9 o'clock. I wasn't feeling well. I wake up, I text Gina. I'm like, hey, can you find a video for this morning? And then I turn on my phone, and I look and I see it's 9/11. Right? And a chill shot through my body. It is literally 2 seconds after I text Gina. Inky Johnson sent me a video last Wednesday, because he had presented to the Kansas City Chiefs on Tuesday of the video he played and what the theme for the year is. So we're going to do a quick 30-second intro. Can we hit the lights? The first video is because this makes me happy.
Drew Kaiser punting. The dangerous Tyreek Hill backpedaling. Handles the sun. Hill finds an opening. Tyreek Hill to the outside. Hill, blazing speed. Tyreek Hill electrifying.
If that doesn't give you chills, not give you All right, now the next video that Inky sent. And he said this is the theme of the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's called Let's Roll. And I love that theme. I'm going to play off that. But the Chiefs theme this year is Let's Roll, based off of this video.
One report said, and we can't confirm any of this, that a plane may have hit one of the 2 towers of the World Trade Center.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
Our belief at the moment is that an aircraft has crashed into the Pentagon.
By 9:34 a.m., it had become clear to air controllers that yet another plane had been hijacked. Then word started reaching the press.
Across the scanner in our newsroom was said that there was a flight that was missing. There had been a flight that they thought was heading towards Pittsburgh or Johnstown, which is where I was, and they couldn't get in touch with it.
They were talking about Flight 93. It had changed direction and was apparently now over Pennsylvania. All indications were that the plane was heading towards the nation's capital. But the hijackers had been careful to turn off the transponder, cutting all communication with air traffic control. From a plane near Cleveland, a call came into the GTE phone center. It was particularly alarming.
When I took over the call, there was a gentleman on the line, very soft-spoken, calm.
The soft-spoken gentleman was Todd Beamer, a passenger on United 93.
I asked him to explain to me in detail what is happening on the plane. He told me there were 3 people that was taking over the flight.
They tied red bandanas around their head, got up, and that was when they forced their way into the cabin.
But when the hijackers stormed the cockpit, nobody on Flight 93 was primed to stop them.
Prior to September 11th, the way flight attendants were trained on a plane was to listen to the hijackers, to stay calm, and to comply with what their demands were.
Unreleased recordings indicate a struggle in the cockpit.
Well, in the cockpit, I think that what happened is the pilots had been subdued. I think their necks have been slashed, and they're strapped in. They've got no way of defending themselves. You can't turn around and fight. They're just sitting ducks.
But it only got worse. From the hijackers, there was a horrifying announcement.
The hijackers on the intercom saying, "There's a bomb on board. We have control of this plane. We're going back to the airport."
On the airphone, Todd Beamer had informed operator Lisa Jefferson about the hijackers' tactics.
He told me that they've taken control of the plane. The plane is going down. At this point, he raised his voice. He said, "We're going down. We're going down. No, we're coming back up. Wait, we're turning around. We're going back north. I think we're going north." At this point, I don't know where we're going.
In fact, they had turned around and were now going east. At 9:35, it appeared that the hijackers were headed for Washington, D.C. But this was no ordinary hijacking. The attack on the World Trade Center would soon become known to the passengers on Flight 93, who called relatives.
And that's when they knew that this plane wasn't just being flown back to an airport. Once those people on board that plane knew it, they knew there was no going back. I mean, this was the new reality of what we face now, and they were the first ones that realized they needed to do something.
In the air above Pennsylvania, a plot was brewing.
Ty told me that him and a few other guys were thinking about jumping the guy with the bomb. He felt that he had to do to try to save the plane, at least try to get the plane to land safely. And I told him that he had every hope, and I had hope for him that they could land the plane safely. He turned from me to speak to someone else, and he said, "Are you ready?" I couldn't hear their response. He said, "Okay, let's roll." That's the last I heard from Todd Beamer. The line was still open, but it was very silent. I didn't hear anything else. I kept that phone line open for about 15 additional minutes. And while our operations center was tracking the call, we heard that the plane had crashed in Pittsburgh. And I knew that was his flight. I felt that I had just lost a good friend.
A 35-foot deep pit in Pennsylvania became the grave of everybody on Flight 93.
People were drawn to Flight 93 because they felt those people on board were the first warriors in the battle against terrorism. And that's a theme you see in this temporary memorial over and over again in the messages people leave. Thank you for fighting back. Thank you for starting this fight against terrorists. I think people have thought that through and thought, would I do that? These people did something special.
Wow. I think it's a good day to remember 9/11, the people that fight for our freedom, and the great country we still live in. So it was just, I literally had chills shooting through my body right when the light bulb went off my head that I had this video sent to me last week. So let's always, John, let's make sure we have the flag at half staff today if we can. And let's remember this. So I like that. I want to take that let's roll and make that part of a theme for us moving forward. Because as this industry is changing, we have to have the right mindset. And that clearly was the right mindset in that place and that time. We're going to play, as you can tell by parking, I don't know if people all turned around and went home after they saw the parking lot today. We're going to be short on parking here the next couple of days. But I think it's for a very worthwhile cause, right? Most of you in this organization already have bought tickets or have sponsorship tickets for the event Thursday night. Those of you who don't, Brooke, Gina, we have them down in your office, right? Yes. So if a sponsorship is $250, which gets you 4 tickets. If you just want to buy an individual ticket for the event, it's $50. So please, Janet, Brooke, Gina, come down there, buy a ticket. We're expecting 2,000 plus people. We were hopeful to raise $400,000. Honestly, I've not done the greatest job. Tosh and I have a number of times sat down, but we just haven't made as many calls as we should. I think we're going to raise over $300,000, but I don't think we're going to hit $400,000. But whatever we hit, it's going to be a big number for a great cause. We're going to have a chunk of, is Ryan here? We're going to have a chunk, Ryan's been coordinating with a number of the families. We'll have a chunk of the Sunshine Kids and their families here for the event also. So we think it's going to be the best one we've had so far. But please, please, if you don't have a ticket, stop by, buy a ticket, invite friends, family, neighbors, anyone else that you think that would be interested in coming to this. Yes, Ellie.
The people that don't get here in time to get a parking place, where can they park? So I need to call Sal Carter today. We're going to get permission to park on the vacant lots around us. Sal's a pretty good friend. He let us do that last time. We need to call Madonna, I think, gave us permission.
They have the sidewalk that
we're also going to call the building right across the street in that parking lot.
Hilton next door to us said that we can park there, but that'll fill up.
That'll fill up fast. So we're anywhere around us, we believe we'll get permission to be able to park cars. The big one is this parking lot right across the street. Let's see. I don't know. So Sunshine Kids video. All right. all the sponsors recognized. We're $7,500 plus sponsors. We've created a VIP tent this year. We're trying to, every year, try to take this just to the next level. Those of you who haven't been here before in the past, we do this, it started out for every year, became too much work, it became every year and a half, and now it's became every 2 years. We'll try to keep it at every 2 years. But it is a lot of work, and I appreciate all the time, energy, and effort for all the people that have done it. Ryan has took over and helped us immensely with social media and reaching out to people and utilizing that as a vehicle to gain more attention for this. Rusty, we love that you and Jen did your project to help us raise some funds for this. Brooke has been involved in every aspect of it, but Mamie, who every year threatens to quit, we don't let her leave the room until she changes her mind. We're like, if you need to get on the phone and call your husband, we don't really care, but you're not quitting, that's bullshit. And so she's still been on board. Tasha chairs the fundraising with me. And the person that we could not do without, who I don't think sells any houses for that 2 months, is Ashley. Is Ashley here? Ashley, you're up? Good to see you. Ashley doesn't love mornings, but she has been instrumental in texting us and keeping us on course and helping in so many aspects. But that core group of our chairs have been unbelievable. And then we've had so many others of you that are volunteers for it. We pay for 100% of the cost of this event. The band, as a company, we're paying that. The tents, we're paying that. So any cost of anything that we're not getting volunteered or given to us, from food to drinks to whatever it is, we absorb the cost. The reason we have this on site is because we want to maximize, if we're going to do an event, we want to maximize every dollar we get to make sure we're getting it to the cause. It always drives me crazy where, honestly, when we did Dancing with the Stars, I would be a $10,000 sponsor, and the last year we made $20,000, and they raised $90,000. By the time you have these sit-down dinners, the cost of renting these spaces and the sit-down dinners and all those type of things, and even golf tournaments, which are popular things, they absorb half of your profit plus and those type of things. So our thought early on in this process was, if we're going to do this, and we're going to spend all this time, energy, and effort doing this, let's make sure we get every dime that we raise to the kids. So I think that's unique to fundraising as a whole. But we're excited about this. Those of you who have been part of it, I think you'll see an energy that exists there tomorrow that'll be really cool. There will be silent auctions that, when you're up here on the panel, maybe you can talk about that real quick. There'll be silent auction items. We'll have oral auction items, which we have 9 or 10, is that correct? And it starts at 5:30. The oral auction will probably be 7:15, 7:30. We don't know. Sounds good. We go by it. Well, we may change that 10 times between now and then. But please show up. Please be here. Those of you who have done sponsorships, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate your heart. And this is a charity that is close to our heart. So thank you very much. We are going to have, first of all, let's start gathering up here if we could. Rachel, Mike Evan, Brooke, Lori Paul, and Mamie Jackson. We 2 weeks ago had Explosion for the second year. We had 150 people from outside the marketplace here sharing ideas with us, learning from us. And as always, when we do events, I want to make sure that we're sharing what we're learning with everybody here. One of the cool things that we have is Mike Evans here? Could someone send a text to Mike and just see if he's coming? Is we video recorded most of this, and we're in the process over the next week or so of probably getting all the breakout sessions, all the main sessions in here, and a couple of breakout sessions recorded. We've already got some of those. We will share that with you. Anything that you guys want, we'll break it down, opening remarks. I would tell you, Alan Dalton was absolutely unbelievable. I know some of these people are going to talk about him. He is a complete genius. But it was very powerful. Hopefully we're going to share some great things with you guys today. But we're going to continue to build upon this thing and continue to bring as much knowledge into this organization as possible and make sure that we're getting things out to you. So take notes today. The one thing that I always say, if you take 15, 20 notes, go back, look at those notes, prioritize those notes, and figure out the 2 or 3 most important things to go implement into your business. Once you're done with those, then go back and do others. Don't go try to implementing all the ideas that you hear at once, okay? All right. Are you nervous?
I know, so everyone else has notes.
Many people said they did not realize Mamie actually had a sense of humor and was funny, but she was quite witty up on our panel the other day.
Always witty.
Brooke, you want to walk through your top takeaways?
Yes. And like you said, we'll send all these handouts. You guys, that's probably like 10 different things, from listing presentations to good quotes to how to ask for testimonials. So we'll send all of that out to you guys.
And more importantly, we'll have the videos. If you want to sit down and take time and watch us, I'll probably sit down with Heather and Tabitha on the training side and maybe even do a class or two around some of these.
Perfect. So I loved Alan Dalton's presentation. He kind of changed the way people look at, like, changed the mindset of a realtor, what a realtor does, and do we provide service or do we provide skills? And then a couple quotes that he had said with it is, I'm proud of what I do, but I'm even prouder of who I represent. Improving a client's quality of life is the firm's #1 priority. So he had just a twist on words that he just made the realtors make it a more impact in your life and a more important person. We take on the toughest cases. We take on the toughest clients. We have an incredible support staff who are intimately involved with clients to make sure that they get the proper support. Like, so changing the mindset, like what we do really helps you, and we want to make a personal relationship. On the flip side of that, I think that puts more pressure on the realtor, and to make sure that we are staying in contact with our clients and those people, making more of an impact on their life, even if we keep in touch with them on a regular basis. And we can even be more transparent with them, be more real, tell them that you won't hurt their feelings if you tell them they have to change something about their house, right? And then I really think that, like, here soon we'll be competing against the internet if we're not already. Pretty soon you're going to be virtually sell a house. You don't even have to walk through it, and you can buy that home. So as realtors, what I took away most was, like, how can we make more of a presence? How can we provide more of a skills rather than just a service?
Alan Dalton, for background, was the president of Realtor.com early on. He's been the past president of a large Sotheby's brokerage on the East Coast, and he's been the president of Riz Media. So his vocabulary is ridiculous. Half the words he says, I have no clue what the hell they mean. You just try to connect the dots with this guy, but he's clearly a genius in this process. But and then Gino, he and I had lunch at Pitch next door, and he says, well, let's write a press release, and let's send a press release out to all the people that came and attended. And so he wrote a press release as Gina and I was eating lunch. And then Mamie and others are like, well, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like...
They're like, should we tell him that there's errors? And we're like, no, don't tell him that. We're just stupid. We don't understand it.
But his entire focus was, really to Brooke's point, is we've got to understand how we communicate in a different way with clients, and we've got to make them understand that the focus is on them and customer service and making their experience better throughout that process. And so I'm going to try to get him back next year, because I think most people would have agreed. Aaron Horn said, don't want to hurt your feelings, Vince. I thought you were a great speaker, but I thought Alan was better. So I had to agree with him. I think he was too. I mean, he's just so unique in how he speaks, right?
Totally.
There's a million guys like me that can go out there and get you pumped up and all jazzed and you walk out, but Alan just speaks in a completely different manner that makes you see things from a different perspective, which is really, we're in a day and time right now where I think we've got to see things from a different perspective.
Sorry, then last thing on Alan, it was really cool. So he's selling his $4 million home in California, and
it was 3.5 last week. Right. Now it's 4. Next month it'll be 5.
And the realtors that did it for him put together this listing presentation and this booklet and this pack, and it wasn't about how great the realtor was and how great their team was and all these things that the team did, which is awesome and cool. But he made it more focused on Alan and his wife and their home and their time in the home. So what were your top 10 things that you loved doing in your house? What are the 5 things that you're gonna miss? What are the home improvements that made a big impact? And it was just really personal interview, and just about their home, and it definitely would catch my eye more than like a listing presentation.
And he says that's one of the mistakes we make, is that so often we're like, we're number one, or we sell this many houses, or we do this. He's like, the client quite honestly doesn't care. You know, what are you going to do to sell my house? That's what they care about. And that was really the message he tried to get across, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that he said that I felt really it was like a light bulb for me. He said, when you go into someone's house and you say it's comparable, or I'm going to show you comps, he said that's like pulling out your phone and being like, these are kids that look like your kid. He's like, it's just, people don't like to hear that, so change the way that you speak. These are other homes that have sold recently in your area. Don't call them. It was just very interesting, his perspective.
His words were.
Yeah. And think about that. How long have we said, here's the comps, here's the comps, here's the comps. You know, this is the comparable to your house. We've got to understand the mindset of the consumer and how they perceive what we're saying. And we've got so trained and programmed to saying things, quite honestly, incorrectly, that we've got to go back. And that's the reason I'm going to go spend Cindy and others. He told me that you told him I need to write a book too. He said that 4 or 5 came up and said that I need to write a book. Obviously, you know, I can't write, so if there's a book, it'll be someone else writing the book for me. But I am going to go spend a couple of days with him sometime over the winter in New York, just to sit down and collaborate and come up with ideas that, you know, and I'm very intrigued about that couple of days of collaboration, because he brings a perspective different than I think anybody I've ever really seen from the real estate industry.
And I wish I knew the history, but he kind of compared the real estate agent to the history of the life insurance policy, like the revolution of the name. It used to be burial policy, then it was
death policy,
then it was this and that. But you just change how you look, and it's more of a skills than.
So he was mocking us for still calling it a listing presentation. Yeah. It's like we need to get away from those words. I mean, and one of the things I will say, and it's not the whole.
Did you get that off of your notes?
Yeah, it's not the whole Alan Dalton show, but it was what I thought was interesting. So his new title is something with research and development. So, you know, Berkshire's brought him in, and he's not a millennial thinking of the newest and greatest. The guy's, I don't know, 70?
He's 69.
69. And it was really eye-opening. Yeah, right, Scott? It was really eye-opening that
he's a puppy, right?
Yeah. He was just telling us that we are all basically dinosaurs in the way we're presenting things to our clients. And the quotes that actually Brooke read, what he did is he Googled law firms. So those were quotes from law firms, how they treat their clients. So he's saying kind of adopt some of those things on what we're saying, not just we'll sell your house and we sold 100 houses. It's using things like that really impact the client and set you apart from the other people in the industry who are saying.
And we are going to share all these slides that we got from these guys.
He talked about, like, we all walk in and say, oh, your house is so beautiful, when really it probably isn't. You know? And really use some truth words of things that, you know, instead of comparing it to every house is beautiful.
And then just having that good of a relationship with that client to be able to say that to them without hurting their feelings, too.
Rachel, any of you, jump in, and what other takeaways did you guys have?
So one of the ones that I really liked is working on getting a higher commission. And so one of the guys on the panel, I can't remember his name, but he just has like a laminated card that he brings with him to the listing appointment. And he does he does basically rates, like this is the platinum rate, here's the gold rate, here's the silver rate. And so basically the lowest would be where you would want to end up, and then anything higher would just kind of be a bonus. So like 6.5 is the platinum, 6.25 be gold, and then silver would be 6, and then basically just like here are your options so that you don't have to go lower than whatever you normally charge. So I thought that was a really good way. And then I think it was Deb who said, you know, she says, this is my commission rate, but there are ways to get that down. I take 0.5% off if you buy another house with me. I take 0.5 off if you refer someone to me and they actually go under contract while you're listed. And I think it was all 0.5 off if I sell it myself. So basically just selling them on the rate you want them to give you. I thought that was really powerful.
And the thing that's really happening there is Deb is encouraging them to refer business to her, right? Mm-hmm. She's happy to take a 0.5% off if she's getting another deal out of the transaction. Deb's going to be on the next panel, so she can even speak further than that. Any other big takeaways, Rachel?
I just really liked, for the end of the year, I'm trying to just finish the year strong. So Debbie to Grow's 5555. I think that's always just an easy way to maybe ramp up your business as to what you're normally doing. So 5 calls per day, or maybe this is per week. 5 calls.
It's per day.
Per day. 5 calls, 5 texts, 5 emails, 5 handwritten notes, and then I think during the week it's 5 face-to-faces, so 1 per day. So I think that's just kind of an easy thing, and one of my Rethink Council members does that, and so they just sent me an organizer, and you can literally mark them off, and it's just an easy way to be like, okay, I did that. It takes like maybe an hour of your time.
We had Debbie in here a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, for any of those you remember. And this is how simple it can be, right? Make 5 texts a day, 5 handwritten notes a day, 5 calls a day, 5 emails a day. And they basically say if you do that over time, you're going to have a constant flow of business going through. But you've got to make sure that you find the time every day to block out to do that.
I loved what Debbie did when she said, when asking for testimonials, she's like, so I talked to him that day. They agree to do a testimonial right then and there. She sends a quick $5 thank you Starbucks card that exact same day that she talks to him. So it's sent to them. They most likely don't write the review. Then they get the Starbucks card, feel bad, and then write you a great one.
Yeah, that's an awesome trick.
Debbie also talked about, everyone always says, how's the real estate market? And we always answer, oh, it's great. But get into the conversation of, there's a good opportunity for sellers right now. Is there an opportunity that you have interest in? And try to dive into it. Is it, downsizing with distinction? Are your kids looking to buy or sell? Not just, hey, the market's great. Get into a conversation.
Yeah, that was good. They said it's a great opportunity for buyers. There's also great opportunity for sellers. Is there an opportunity that, why did you ask? Is there an opportunity that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Lori, any other takeaways that you have?
Well, when they talked about, when we did a breakout session and it was on mental health, the room was full about setting your mindset. I think that's so big today, especially in our industry. Just a few takeaways. It said, in the morning when we wake up, we're really dehydrated. Drink water before we have our coffee. So I've been trying to do that every morning. Just some simple little things. Don't plug your phone in by your bed. Keep it maybe downstairs or away from your bedroom. Don't wake up first thing blurry-eyed looking at your emails and texts. Really take a minute, take some deep breaths, even if it's 7 deep breaths. But just really trying to set your mindset is so huge. It can make or break your day. But go to bed like thinking about what were the good things that happened and really get that mindset positive. And then you wake up more positive too.
Megan, did you bring that sheet of what he had? So Megan's going to even talk about some of that stuff that Jake had talked about, and we're going to send that out to you. There's a lot of links. I know when we were going to New York City, Shannon was looking up all these links on the plane to talk about these things.
He also talked about like choosing the battle to win the war. Choose your battle. Decide who you want to work with, or and then also like don't go it alone. Create accountability, and we do that a lot here. I think with our mastermind, but just hearing from agents, Mamie and I did a roundtable. It was really fun to talk with people around the country and see so many people that have come to Omaha, and they're just amazed at our office, what we do. I think we live in it every day, so we're not always as appreciative as all these other people, but they just loved. They were surprised how many agents would help share their information, and they just said for a day and a half it was so valuable, and they took away so much of day-to-day things they could use. I know Mamie and I helped. One of the ladies in our small group lives in Montana, and she's like, there's nobody around. Like, you can't do an open house. People won't come. You're driving forever. So just we did ours on like client parties and events. So just talking with everybody in the group. One mentioned, hey, if there's like a Dairy Queen or a coffee shop in town, set that up for an afternoon. Maybe if people are picking up kids or getting off work, like a 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, stop by. I'll be there. I'll buy you a coffee or an ice cream, or make it easy for your client.
Yeah, the breakouts were neat. because, you know, at first they kind of go slow, and we were asking if, you know, don't just listen to us regurgitate what we do, you know, are there any questions, who has challenges? And it was kind of neat because someone would say, you know, the Montana one or the other, you know, somewhere else, I forget where she was from, I think Iowa, and had an issue. And it was kind of neat having everyone from the group from all over the country giving them ideas on how to solve their problems. And I know we do kind of that with accountability, our accountability groups, that sometimes, you know, we're in the same accountability group, so it'd be good, even if we did breakouts, maybe we'd get something on the schedule, breakout here, breakout there, just to hear from different people other than our same accountability group on kind of issues we're having or other ideas. Even just being in our breakout with Lori, you know, I do client parties, my husband, we do client parties, our group does, but she does these like really little ones that are really low, like mine seem to be these elaborate like state dinner type thing. I mean, they're crazy, they're super time consuming, and Lori's ideas, I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea, and she's down the hall and I never really asked her, so I'm totally stealing I'm stealing her ideas. But anyone can do them, we all have different clients. Let's see, what else did we talk about? The Jake guy, that mindset guy, he was like totally, like, he's ripped, he's totally in great shape. You're like, oh my God, I want to be that guy.
He runs the
Yeah, he's a little ridiculous.
He's a little ridiculous.
He did say that was...
I saw him in Seattle, and the day before, his wife said, hey, I'm going to run the marathon. He's like, okay. I mean, no prep. He just ran the marathon, no big deal. You know, a little tired, walked to the baseball game.
His workout, like his training, what he do, the fitness, him and his wife, he's like, I wouldn't advise it. So just take it down.
But he was the religious with his morning routine,
yes.
right?
And, I will say accountability, one of the things, and I didn't go today because I couldn't get in the class, but if you exercise, because it is, you get up in the morning, you feel better when you exercise, and a lot of people work out at home, and if that works for you, awesome. But for me, if I go to the same smaller type group class and you have the same people who go all the time, if you're not there, they're like, where were you yesterday? You kind of get those people. So I think that's great just for kind of exercise to get your mindset going. One thing I will tell, and TJ, is I always go, why do you unplug your phone? What if there's an emergency? So mine is like buy my bet, and it's on, and it'll like beep all night. And he really said, you know, don't do that. Move your phone. And so I actually am trying not to look at that, like make that the last thing I do at night. So I started reading. I totally, like that Progressive commercial, I'm turning into my mom with my glasses. My daughter came in the other night and took my glasses off of me while I fell asleep reading them. But Aaron Horn, actually, I told him I really have trouble.
See, she's funny.
I really have trouble falling asleep, and actually, I don't know if Aaron's here right now, but he was talking about breathing. So he gave me something that he did, which is literally just breathing. And he said, count this many in, count that many out. And it totally worked. He goes, you won't get to the end, you will fall asleep. So just little tricks that people have that will help you just get to sleep, stay asleep, and then get up in the morning and hit the day.
I love that. I do the same thing with my morning routine. So it's like, if the first thing you do is look at your phone and say you get a voicemail that's not a good one, that in 20 seconds your mindset is switched and you go into that waking up happy, and now you're pissy from a voicemail and your whole day is thrown.
He also said, and I haven't done this, but you can, maybe in your phone, you can set certain numbers that can ring through at a certain time, like you can block after a certain time.
Favorites.
Yeah,
your
like
favorites
after 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever, block any other call, but only...
Brooke, Gina, can you block all the agents' numbers for me after 9 o'clock?
So if
block
there's
your
an
number.
emergency, you get the right call.
I'm sure.
And I will go right back over to that Alton Doll. I think, Cindy, did you say he's got a book that you bought? And I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to buy his book because these are all great things, like get your mindset right. But I truly, truly believe, okay, it's called Creating Real Estate Connections. I think some of the things this gentleman said, and I've been selling real estate for 15 years now, but some of the things, just tweaking your vocabulary, I think will have a huge impact in a, what am I calling it? It's not a listing presentation. I'm going to figure out what I'm supposed to call it because it's not that, but just tweaking those words will set you apart just in your vocabulary and kind of engaging that client. So I encourage, so there's like say 650 of us, there's still plenty, if we all do that, we'll still knock everyone else out of business. There's still plenty of business around for all of us if we all start talking like him.
Guys, I'm going to get the next group. Let's give them a big hand. Aaron, Deb, Megan, Cindy. We're doing these panels. You know, we've had Fred bring in panels. We're trying to, when we come back from Summit, when we come back from convention, anytime we're having an event, we really want to come back because we're learning things in other parts of the country from other people in other parts of the country that are successful. We want to make sure that we're coming back and sharing that with you. But I want to make sure if we're doing that, you guys are finding value in that. Are you? Show of hands? Okay. All right. Who wants to start?
Deb does.
That's what I just said. But I'll start.
All right.
I don't know if it's on or not. Everybody's been talking about all the good. I think there's something really bad that Vince is going to have to get a handle on. This place isn't...
That's this panel.
Yeah. This place isn't big enough, and that really is the big problem, because we could probably triple the size of this event if we had the space. So I was thinking maybe you should talk to Ron and see if he could add a 4th story on, just for that 3-day event. I think that would be nice. But that was our biggest problem.
It was.
Was truly space, because this is an event you don't want to miss. It really is awesome. I learned something from every panel I went to, from every round table I went to. 2 real simple things. The first thing is something called boxbrownie.com. How many of you have used that? It's if you get your pictures back, and you know how a client said, I know the reason my home isn't sold because you have a really bad picture of the dining room. Do you ever have that? Yeah, all of mine think that it's the pictures that are the reason their house isn't sold. You can send the picture in to boxbrownie.com. I think it's $1.32 a picture, and they can change the lighting on it, change the angle on it. They can, if you have a house that's vacant, they can put furniture in. You just tell them the style that you want, whether it's contemporary or traditional. They have a whole bunch of things you can choose. If you have a room that's really awkward, that nobody can figure out what you should do in that room, they can go in there and do furniture placement, theme ideas, that kind of thing. A couple people then just took that, made a poster, stuck it on an easel in that room. I thought that was a really good idea. But for $1.30 something a picture, that's a lot better than having to retake all the pictures because they didn't like 1 or 2 of the pictures. And it's real fast turnaround. I think it's 24 hours. So I thought that was a great idea. And the second thing was luxury homes. Cindy and I were on that panel, and we just said, well, we'll just let those California agents talk about all their fancy print material and stuff, because we figured, they were a lot better at that than Cindy and I were. But guess what the #1 way the top agents in Beverly Hills, Southern California, sell their homes? Any guesses?
Open house.
Open houses. And I thought they were talking...
No, you didn't record that one, did you?
What?
That was good.
That was it?
That's the answer.
They said even 10, 12, $15 million homes. We all tell our, if you're above 700, you don't want to do an open house. That's dangerous. They had 10, $15 million homes that they were doing open houses, and not like broker open houses, but these were open to the general public, and they double-end most of their deals that way. So I thought, maybe we need to get out of the box a little and not think that our $1 million homes are too fancy for a regular open house. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Open houses, period. I mean, it seems like that we've really got away from them over the last year or so. As the market's hot, that house is going to sell in the next day or 2 or a week. Why do I need to hold an open house? Why do you need to hold an open house? So you can pick up other sellers, other buyers, and generate more business. Use the listing as a vehicle to get additional business.
And I liked your idea, Vince. If you're worried about security, which I'm sure some of our clients will be, he has a friend who runs a security company, and what did he charge, like $100 an hour or something?
I don't even know if it's that much. I think it's
but he would come, and I thought, a lot of our kind of uppity sellers would like the fact that you had a security person there at the home.
Yeah, and I think it's $50 an hour. I'll find out.
I thought that was a pretty cool idea.
Ron.
First of all, I hate public speaking. I think you've heard this before. I feel more comfortable at a kitchen table of a stranger's house than standing in front of 10 people.
Well, you're not standing and it's not public, so you go.
So, I think Mamie had brought it up before, but Gino talked about something that kind of hit home for me, which was kind of taking care of yourself. So, starting your morning off, drinking water, don't just jump right on your phone in the morning, and breathing, which is something I do, which we talked about, which is kind of a relaxing technique to fall asleep. Some others may have problems falling asleep sometimes or wake up. I seem to always wake up about an hour before I'm supposed to get up, so that helps me get back to sleep. It's just kind of slow in and out breathing. When you breathe out, you relax your body. Each time you breathe out, you're just telling yourself your body gets more and more relaxed each time. and next thing you know, you'll be waking up. So that's worked for me. Maybe it worked for others. The other thing we talked...
Gino even took it, I want to piggyback on that. Gino took it to another level, and he says he calls it his meds, capital M, capital E, capital D, capital S. The meds is the meditation, which is exactly what he's talking about, that he starts every day that way. The E is exercise on a daily basis. The D is the diet, which I need to work on a daily basis. And the S is sleep, that how important sleep is. I think sometimes we forget that, but that was the meds. He's talked about that when he was here about 2 or 3 years ago, but I think it's a good reminder. We really had a good healthy between Jake and Gino, a good healthy balance of here's how you grow your business, but this is how you also need to take care of your mental and physical well-being as part of what we were talking about this event.
Yeah. The other thing too, I'd second the open house thing. That's something I teach on my team. I did a class on scripts and dialogues, and I'll just give this to everybody because it's probably the most powerful open house question you can ask. So once you're talking to the person a little bit, it's always a very easy thing to ask them. Say, hey, you've been driving around today, you said you're looking at houses. Were there other homes that you drove by that weren't open today that you'd want to see? I'm done here at 4. I'd be happy to meet you at 4:30. It's a very easy question. You'll get a lot of yeses and made a lot of money off those questions. So that one single question. So that, yeah. So
any other takeaways?
We did talk. The other class I did was on rental property, and we were talking about some buying property that's not in your market. So some places in the U.S., it's too expensive, and people would rather buying property in other locations. My buddy Sean just bought a place in Florida for rental house. So there's, sometimes the market for buying investment property is not here. It might not be in Omaha, maybe it's in Fremont, maybe it's in small town Nebraska, maybe it's in another state. So don't limit your idea for investing. It's just right here. There's plenty of places to buy cheap houses. For example, a lady from California was buying houses in Idaho because her market's average price like $800,000, and she can afford to buy an investment property for $800,000. But in Idaho, she could buy houses for $150,000 and $200,000. So that's what she was doing.
Cool. Megan, Cindy, either one of you?
What I want to piggyback on that investing because I don't have any rentals in Omaha. I have 2 rentals in Florida, and just to give you an idea of how other markets are better to buy in compared to Nebraska, the one ranch I paid $169,000 for in 2004, and it's worth $300,000. And I haven't done anything to it. I think I'm going to have to replace the roof, which is really bugging me, but I haven't had to do anything to it. And the other property I bought in a high market, but it's been a really good investment property, and I use it myself. And it's worth what I paid for it now, because I bought it at the high market. But I've gotten a great income stream off of it, and it's paid for itself. So that's a great idea. Don't think that you have to buy all your rentals in Omaha, because our properties just don't go up as quickly as they do in other states, and especially if you're in areas where it's vacation areas. And I think, Deb, you own property out of?
No. I own purses and clothes.
Purses and clothes.
Her husband owns a lot of real estate.
I should.
Okay. I mean, they need to fill those properties that Ron owned. She's got to have something to put in them. You can't just own the real estate.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought, and I'm not sure where some of this stuff comes from, because I wasn't expecting to talk today. I've been out of town for a week, and my brain just dried up. But one of the things that I heard was client loyalty is down, and I think we all know that. And so we have to up our game. It used to be, when we started in this business, you would sell somebody a house and you'd keep in touch with them every once in a while and they'd come back to you. Not so anymore. You really have to take care of your past clients. The other thing I heard was expectations are higher. No question. Everybody's expectations are higher today. So to keep yourself so that you can turn your phone off at 6 o'clock at night and not get texts at 2 a.m., you have to set those expectations with your buyers and sellers of here's where I can be, here's what I can do for you or help you with, but I'm not available during these hours, so that they aren't texting you at 2 o'clock in the morning, or they're not wanting to negotiate at 12 o'clock at night. And I will just tell you, there is a study out that says that some of the worst negotiations are done between 6 and midnight. You are much better negotiating any contract anytime between 9 and noon. Everybody is better between those hours. So get away from late hours and doing things late, because you make more mistakes and so do the sellers. The other thing I thought was interesting, and I think Alan said this, our values are under attack. In other words, the value of what we do, it's very much under attack. And so we have to do something about that. We have to prove to people that we are more valuable to them today than ever before, because there's just too many distractions. And we're also in a very critical industry, so we have to be very careful, because you have to be very careful what you say. Like Alan Dalton said, somebody can say something to you about real estate and you start like talking and you go, oh my God, why did I say that? You have to know what you're going to say, and you have to be critical about what you say. I think one of the things he said, and I'm not going to say it verbatim, but he said, when somebody asks you how the real estate business is, don't say, oh, it's wonderful, it's great. How's it selling in 5 days? And I'm just so busy, and that is wrong. You say, the market has it has, I'm sorry, I'm not saying this correct. There's great opportunities in the market today. Tell me why you're asking. Are you interested in buying something today? Are you interested in buying a rental? So you turn it around on them. You say it's very opportunistic, or there's a lot of good values in the market today, but why are you asking? Do you want to buy something? We don't tell people what we do enough, and we also don't ask for the business enough. And I think we're all guilty of that. One of the other things that I think Alan Dalton, he has such a great master of the English language. I don't think you can't put it any other way. I've never heard
That's a true statement.
Such a good speaker. And I did buy his book, and all of the things that he said during the seminar are in here. I haven't read the whole book, but every one of his scripts are in this book. And I will give it to somebody so they can copy them and get them all to you. Because,
give it to someone that can read, so not me.
It's English.
Okay.
So
that's my problem.
Yeah. So you don't have to buy the book, because basically the best part of this book is about the first 10, 15 pages, and that's all of the scripts that he gave. And the rest of it are people that he interviewed all over the country. And yeah, it's interesting, but the good part's in the front. And that's about all I have to say.
Megan.
Okay, so I just have like 4 or 5 major things. I really like Jake's class. I run around like a ping pong ball machine, and so his class was really good for me. One of my favorite quotes was, there is no discipline, it's simply that you choose something else above what you should choose. I liked that quote because everyone always talks about being disciplined and everything, but it's more than just that. It's that you choose to do this thing over what you actually should choose to do. Another one of my favorite things was, I'm desperately trying to get organized and find a CRM system, and I've tried a dozen different kinds, but I finally found one that I like, and it's called Follow Up Boss. It's so far been pretty easy to work with, and is fairly inexpensive as well. And then just basically getting back to the basics, so direct mail pieces, open houses, kind of systemizing your business, kind of to stay organized. And then creating opportunity within your own sphere, which I started doing lately. You know, there's not enough homes for buyers, and sellers don't want to sell, so why not connect other people through your own sphere or sphere of people that you know, and trying to create opportunities that way versus, what's active on the MLS if you can't find anything that way.
Megan, I see, and I know you do this in the Rethink Council, you have always pages of notes, right? Is that fair?
I know. I was just looking at that going, she's worried about organization. I haven't written that many notes since college.
Then I just highlight what I want to do, and then I just do those, and then when I get done doing those, I go back and highlight in a different color.
And that's my question. So you write all these notes, you go back, and then you kind of prioritize, in this case, highlight the things that you need to do first, but you don't try to do all of them at the same time.
No, I have dozens of notes and all sorts of craziness going on, but I just highlight 3 or 4 things that really stuck out to me that I want to implement, and then once I get done implementing those, then I'll move on to something else, because otherwise you get so overwhelmed trying to.
But that's a simple process that works, right? That's how simple this business can be. Anything else? Any last statements, guys? Let's give them a big hand. Couple quick things. I was in New York City last week talking on a panel on team challenges. We had up there one of the other panels. All it is it was a CEO meeting that Riz Media puts on every year at the Harvard Club. Trust me, the only way I get in the Harvard Club is if someone like this invites me for a real estate event. But the one panel had up there, and I texted a couple of our agents during it, Redfin, EXP, Compass, Nextdoor, and I can't for the life of me remember who the other company was. They had a 5th company up there. And I've said many times before, those of you doing this to make a great living, to support your family, to do the things that you love with the people you love, should be directly aligned with a broker like us who are saying, we got to create great coaching culture and add value to our agents. In return, the agents, you need to give great value to your clients. So all of these companies up there were basically discount virtual office organizations. Redfin came out as part of this and said, okay. Redfin said, we're perfectly fine collecting 1% on the listing side. So this was a 45-minute conversation. A lot of the people on the EXP websites have on their, the money we're saving on brick and mortar, we're passing along to you as a client. Basically saying we're a discount broker. So these models were all, and this was called the disruptors in the real estate industry. So it was really interesting to have them up there. But the thing that we've got to understand, Cindy said it, is the expectation and the level of customer service we got to deliver today is greater than it's ever been in the history of the world. I don't agree with, I agree with Brooke's statement that technology and the internet is going to continue to change how we do business. I don't agree with the statement, though, that people are just going to start buying houses off the internet. A survey came out last year that millennials said that they trust everything outside of real estate, right, to buy cars, TVs, purses, whatever you want online. But real estate is the one thing that even 70+% of millennials say they want to still talk to an agent because of the size and magnitude of the transaction, because of the complexity of that. So the one huge competitive advantage we have with all these technology companies saying we're becoming real estate companies is that the consumer, even the young consumer, still sees value for us to deliver to them. But with that being said, what's that mean? That means we've got to be more effective, more efficient. In the mastermind group we had yesterday, we had a number of people saying, I'm talking to my clients more often than I ever have before. I'm not calling a seller just once a week. We got to stay. Am I off? Okay, good. We've got to stay in connection with them and build these relationships and show value to them more than we ever have before. But we're in interesting times right now. And one of the people on the panel said, listen, over the last 18 months, this industry's changed more than it has over the past 40 years. And I don't think that's far from the truth, to be honest with you. So my opening statements, and you guys can get all of these films, we'll get this out to everyone, when I did Explosion here, and what I said, the other thing is they're like, brick and mortar doesn't matter, brand doesn't matter. I mean, that's what all the disruptors are saying, okay, because they're trying to pull you into what their mind thought is we're going to do it for less, none of these things matter. Obviously, there's a lot of other panelists got up there and said, hey, that's not correct. Here's the thing that amazes me. These are technology companies trying to be disruptors. But here's one of the things that if you use some common sense, it doesn't make sense. Apple, the first company in the history of the world worth over $1 zillion, the most valuable company in the world. Google, the number 3 valued company in the world, and Facebook, the number 4 valued company in the world, are 3 technology companies. Would we all agree with that? Do you know what the core of their growth is based around? The core of their growth is based around having campuses, big-ass brick-and-mortar campuses, to bring people together for collaboration, to encourage each other, to learn from each other, to do teamwork together. 3 technology companies, 3 of the 4 most valued companies in the world, basically say our growth model is by bringing human resources together in an environment, in a culture, to learn together, to be sponges, to bounce ideas off each other, to get better. I don't think that's by mistake. They're growing as technology companies because they're bringing people together for collaboration. So I would argue all day long, brick and mortar is not dead. And the truth is, human behavior 101, anyone that watches Darren Hardy understands you need to get away. The vast majority of people do not have the ability to work out of their home or virtual office. There's too many distractions. There's not that friendly competition. There's not that energy. There's not that ability to surround yourself with other people as good or better than you and learn from them. So one of the things that you guys all need to be doing is you need to be a sponge. You need to continue to learn from other people in the organization. You need to ask questions. You need to pick people's brains. Our top producers will sit down, everyone on this panel will sit down and take 15, 20 minutes with you and share ideas with you of what they're doing to be successful. That burden falls on you. Show up, put a process and a system in place, right? Learn how to make sure that on a regular, ongoing basis you do simple little things. You create habits that's going to help you be successful. This industry is going to continue to change, I think, over the next 18 to 24 months like we've never seen before. Let's not ignore technology. Let's not ignore social media, okay? But let's not let it define who we are. We are in the relationship building business that has not changed for the last 40 or 50 years, but we've got to use these other vehicles as opportunities to have a greater reach, to communicate and connect in a different way to more people than we ever have before. But connecting just through social media and through technology will not be enough to deliver the value of customer service that we need to do moving forward. We've got to keep this in our head. We're going to continue to be a broken record to say what are other people saying, to understand those things, what are the perceived values of those things, and then to come back here and help you guys understand what value you need to deliver to your clients to make sure you continue to be relevant so you can continue to get a reasonable commission. How many houses do you have to sell if you're going to get 1% on every listing, right? And here's the good thing. I think we're in the beginning of a downturn. Some of these models will go broke because there's so many of them that have entered into this arena today. History tells us they won't all make it. Some of those guys won't survive this thing. So last thing, we're running a little bit over time here, but I always think it's worthwhile when we have the panels in place, is Stacy started off our mastermind group yesterday saying, I hear that CBS is taking over and it's going to be their management, and I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, these rumors are going to kill me. So the last 3 weeks, I've been continuing to have conversations with, probably the last 4 weeks, with CBS about the possibility of them merging. It would be merging into us. It would be under the Berkshire Hathaway name. It's not 100% set there, but it's becoming, every day it's becoming more and more likely that it will happen. There's still some issues that we've still got to work out, a handful of them, and we're working as fast as we can to see if we can get there. But if it happens, which is becoming more likely, it would be under our leadership, it would be under our name, it would be under our brand, it would be under our fee and commission schedules, but we're hoping to have some benefits out of that. We're trying to look at, this is an opportunity for me to take a step back and look at what do we do well, and what are some things that they've done well. And we're looking at maybe do we hire and continue to have their graphic designers as an additional option to you guys, cheaper, having them in-house, and you could go do that before to make some marketing materials. Do we have a full-time professional photographer that gives quality photos that we can go and get done for $40, $50 a photo versus $125 a photo? So we're actually taking this as an opportunity, and we're looking at some of the things they're doing. The people that were from, I think there's 4 or 5 of you that came from CBS in that mastermind group yesterday, and you guys had said Maggie is spectacular, that she would actually bring some real value to us. So we're looking at all those type of things, but we're really using this as an opportunity is how do we move forward if we do this to make this better for everybody as part of the process. So I wanted you guys to be in the loop on what's going on here, but that's what it is. I mean, the question was, is Scott going to run it? And Scott's a nice guy. He'll be part of the team, but he's not going to run it. And Scott's okay with that. And quite honestly, Scott's actually pushing and believes at the end of the day, this would be a good thing for them to merge into our organization. They're not all going to fit in this building. Okay, so that's one of the things we've got to work through. We're trying to work through the dynamics of where's that space, what's it look like, and how does that work moving forward. So, as always, you got questions, you guys all got my number. Call me, text me, stop in my office. Not after 6. I wish I quit at 6. I've got to change that habit. But guys, I'm excited. Sunshine Kids, Sunshine Kids, Sunshine Kids. Please show up. You don't have a ticket. Grab the girls. It's going to be a great event. Finest hour is going to be our band. We met with them last night. They'll be on top of pitch again. It's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy cool event. Get your spouse, get some friends, bring them here. Food is going to be unbelievable. Again, we're having food flown in from New Orleans. I don't know exactly what we're getting, but I think seafood, red beans, rice, seafood etouffee. I don't know what we're getting, but it's going to be great. Guys, show up. Stay focused. The one thing that I really would like you to do is we're starting Heather's class here at the beginning of October, running right up into Thanksgiving. Please sign up for that class. I want this room to be 100% packed. We will have a top producer in here every single month, but it's going to be about how do you continue to grow, how do you get out of your comfort zone, how do we take some of these changes that are going on in the real estate industry and embrace those to enhance what we're doing for our clients, to give them a greater client experience. Guys, have a great day. Thank you.
Can we get the volunteer sheet? Sorry.
Brooke is going to send out an email, hopefully I sent it to her last night, to all the agents. Please register to bid on assignment options before Thursday. Send it out to all your clients and friends that are coming.
So register to bid. We'll send an email on that. What do we have back there?
Thank you. Anybody have the other volunteer sign-up sheets? Thank you.
Sherry, you had a question?
Yeah, do we have like some type of flyer that we can send out to our clients about this?
So anyone that wants, Brooke, let's go ahead and just send out to everyone in the company the Sunshine Kids flyer, and just we'll just do a kind of overall interview so you can send it out to other people. But please get a hold of her, get some tickets, plan on showing up. It looks like, knock on some wood, the weather's looking good for the event, guys. Have a great day. Thank our panelists as you see them today. Bye.